In this part 3 of the Bana Hills video we are going to explore the French village and the famous Golden Bridge. The French village Bana Hills is like stepping into a little piece of Europe right here in Vietnam. Sitting high up in the mountains, it's a charming spot with cobblestone streets, cozy cafes, and beautiful old-style buildings. It feels like you've traveled to a quiet French town, but with the bonus of amazing mountain views. Whether you want to take a stroll, snap photos of the famous Golden Bridge, or just enjoy the cool, fresh air, the French village has something special waiting for you. Let's explore this magical place together. Nestled in the beautiful Bana mountain range, the French village Bana Hills, Da Nang possesses a charming and luxurious beauty with ancient European architecture, creating a unique and outstanding resort compared to many other places. Located at an altitude of 1,400 meters, visitors will experience the panoramic view of the natural scenery of the conical mountains surrounding a truly miniature French village in Vietnam. In the French village, visitors will be able to admire the majestic and magnificent castles along with French-style constructions such as squares, churches, hotels, designed based on the inspiration of the French missionary Pigneau De Behaine. With the layout like a miniature painting of France, visitors feel like they are entering a fairy tale world like Disney, attracting both adults and children. Exploring the French village Bana Hills is an interesting experience that you should definitely try when coming to Bana Hills, Vietnam, especially those who are passionate about exploring romantic French architecture. True to its name, French village Bana Hills, when coming to this place, visitors can easily see a French architectural scene. This is because during the historical formation of Bana Hills, it was a French colony in the late 19th century. Specifically, due to the natural favor of a cool climate, in 1901 the French government built this place into a resort with restaurants, hotels, wine cellars, entertainment areas, etc. to escape the hot sun in Da Nang, and completed in 1937. Firstly, they built the first paved road to Ba Na, creating an entrance to the resort on the hill, which later became a resort town for high-ranking officials or the French elite. Next, they built the first cable car system in Vietnam in 1928. The above explains why this place has a French architectural design, because it is evidence of the ruins that France left in Vietnam during the invasion. However, during the period of 1945 to 1975, when France invaded Vietnam again, breaking an agreement signed between the two countries, the place was severely damaged. After the French war ended, Ba Na was abandoned for a long time. Then, seeing the tourism potential it brought, in 2005 Ba Na was revived once again and still retains the ancient French architecture that has developed until today. now we heading towards the famous Golden Hand Bridge. If you are planning to visit French Village Bana Hills, or you have visited this place many times, the Golden Hand Bridge is still the ideal place for you to visit again and again. It is considered a symbol of Ba Na Da Nang in particular and of Vietnam in general, thanks to its impressive and creative architecture for visitors who set foot here for the first time. Talking about the layout of this bridge, it is uniquely designed with two giant hands lifting the bridge into the air with a length of 150 meters. Bringing a sense of interesting virtual discovery. The yellow color of the bridge is due to the use of yellow materials for the floor and railing, enhancing its outstanding appearance against the green natural landscape. The design of the giant hand is inspired by ancient mythology with the meaning of promoting the role of nature in protecting and supporting human life. In short, the Golden Bridge is a great masterpiece of engineering and design to create a harmonious combination between the natural environment and the grandeur of the structure, creating an impressive visual effect. This is an ideal tourist destination that visitors should not miss. In our next video we will show you the Wax Museum, train ride, amusement park, more places around the French Village, and lastly the ride back by the cable car. Thanks for watching, and we will see you in our next video.